Hello and welcome to Grocery Pod. My name's Sean Kasednar. I have a great show for you today. It's a recap of a lot of conversations that I had at Innovation Showcase 2024. Met with lots of different vendors there, and I wanted you to hear all those different conversations. So if it doesn't sound like we're in a closed studio environment, it's because we're not. There's going to be a lot of sounds of people around. They gave me a really great setup. If you walked by the booth, it looked super professional. I think back to the first year that I recorded at a food show of any sort. I was in the copy room. You may remember that. Anyone that's listened to all the episodes of Grocery Pod, you may remember hearing sounds of people making copies while I was interviewing people at a food show. So it's come a long way from that. Very proud of that. Make sure that you subscribe to Grocery Pod. Subscribing means new episodes will be downloaded for you automatically each week. You can find Grocery Pod on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or any other platform you use. And so with that, we'll get to all the conversations. All right, first up, I'm joined by John Thompson, CEO of Shop to Cook. John, thanks for joining me today at the showcase.
It is my pleasure to be here. Thank you very much.
First things first, why don't you tell everyone about Shop to Cook and what exactly it is you guys do?
Great. Well, Shop to Cook is really a digital media platform. And as I've always told people, you know what, we were a digital media platform before digital media was a thing. We actually are primarily an integrator. We help bring your website, your kiosk, your emails, anything that you do digitally to customers. We bring it all together. And then we bring it all together to an in-store experience with our digital kiosk.
Yeah, so talk to me about these digital kiosks. Like, I think that's a really good idea because we were just talking before we started recording, and you're right. Like, we do a really good job of reaching the customers when they're at home, but not as good at once they're in the store actually shopping.
Absolutely, and we've been telling folks that for years. You know what? And more importantly, as digital has become more a part of our lives, it's normal for us to be able to touch customers when they're not in the stores. But now we have to learn how to leverage those touch points. But more importantly, once they walk into your store, how do we engage them? Not just it's great that you're in my store, but how do I engage you to actually shop my store? How do I tell you what's going on inside my store? How do I differentiate myself? And our in-store kiosk allows you as a retailer down to the store level to actually begin to build that story and help that shopper plan that particular shopping trip.
And I think that it works better than just being on a phone. Like, yeah. I think about when I'm coming to the store, like, I'm probably on my phone doing stuff already. I'm not trying to go to my store's app to, scroll through things because I'm doing other stuff while I'm shopping. But I get there, I stop by the kiosk, see the coupons, see the flyer, all that stuff. Like, it's a trip that I'm already making.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is that none of us can deny the fact that the phone is kind of part of our world now, and it's always attached to us, But I always see, one of the things that we do is when we're in there looking at our customers, we have mothers and that stuff, they've got children, they can't have their phone out. Our kiosk allows them to first and foremost, get a list of all the digital coupons that I have out there. I clipped it for a reason. Mm-hmm. So, if you give me a place where I can actually print that list and I can carry around my shopping list and I know exactly which product I'm supposed to buy, what I need, what the discount's going to be, and what size, I can avoid all the issue at the register when I get there. Oh, I bought the wrong size or I bought the wrong brand. We actually will give you a chance to print that out. We give you that last chance to check out all the digital coupons we have available for you. And they're targeted towards you based on your shopping behavior. Mm-hmm. We give you a chance to plan your meals. We have 6,000 recipes in our kiosk, and they're continuously being updated. They're very seasonal. For those folks who have health concerns, we'll actually provide you recipes specific to those health concerns to help you. We heard it a lot of here that food is the next drug, and actually help you eat better. We provide you product information, any type of that thing. But most importantly, and another big part for the retailers, we give you a chance as we continue to dwindle our print flyer to get that flyer in front of the customer in a digital format, one which they can review and build a shopping list off of it as they look at it and print it right there in the store.
So is the theory that we have that right after the shopping carts? Like I go get my cart, I go print out my list?
That's a great question, Sean. We get that question all the time. You know what? And the interesting thing of it is, we always tell people the worst place you can put this is the front of the store. And the reason is that when people come into your store, especially in those regions with bad weather,
yes,
my objective is to get out of the weather,
yes,
and get into your store. So I'll just walk right past your kiosk. We like the kiosk primarily when you start to plan your trip. When you get into that produce department and say, okay, what do I need? Do I need onions? Do I need potatoes? Do I need fruit? Do I need salads? And that type of stuff. That's where you really start to engage in your trip, understand what you got to get, and more importantly, it gives the retailer the chance to take a part of that 70% of my the items that I'm going to purchase. I make that decision right there in the store.
I could also see the stores that have, a good deli and prepared food space, a place where people might congregate as another good opportunity.
Yeah. One of our fastest growing areas, actually. Deli has become, it's more normal for us to walk up to a kiosk and order our food than to a McDonald's lately, and that type of thing. And as that trend line continues, it's more important that the retailers continue to streamline that in-store experience. The interesting part of it is when you walk up to our kiosk, especially even if it's at the front of the store, and I can do my deli ordering while I'm at the front of the store, and by the time I get to the back, it's done, and I don't have to wait in line or pull a number or do anything of that nature. It's all done. I can pick it up and keep going. You've just done that customer a big favor.
Wow, that's a great feature that I didn't hear you mention before. Yeah, ordering stuff in store from that kiosk is just another thing that
absolutely
that's really going to help people out.
Streamlining the process. Our objective as we bring digital in store is to make the experience easier for our customers, and digital gives us that opportunity. Interactive digital takes it one step level, because the one thing is, like I said, it's one thing to put a digital screen up that's just flashing ads. It's another one where the customer can actually engage with you and a data point for you, because you get to watch what they're looking at. You get to watch what interests them. You get to watch the things that they interact to and build that into the next trip, build that data into the next trip, because we're tracking everything that customer does.
Very cool. I also think that it's interesting, it was digital, and we're online. It's all on the internet, and you're really like combining the two, digital and analog. They still are going to a physical kiosk and doing something and getting a physical printout. But they are interacting with a digital system. And like now that we've come back around to, no, this is probably how our world needs to work.
And it's interesting, Sean, there's a new term out there called phygital. I don't know if you've heard it. It is the combining of the physical with the digital. And that's where we're going to land. We're going to land somewhere in the middle. We're not going to totally get away from physical. We all own stores.
Yeah.
A lot of brick and mortar. So we're not going to get away from that. That's our core. But we know that digital is going to continue to grow, and we need to be a part of that. We need to be ahead of it. We need to make sure that as that part becomes more mainstream, that we're not replacing our physical, we're enhancing it.
That's really good. And so if anybody's listening that is interested in Shop to Cook, what do they need to do?
What they need to do is come down to our booth, shoptocook.com, and take a look at all the services we have. But here at the show, we have our kiosk. We're featuring our kiosk. And certainly just give us a call or give us a contact. We'll reach right back out to you and make sure that we get you going.
Perfect. Thanks for joining me today, John.
Thank you, Sean.
Next up, I'm joined by Frank Borges, VP and co-owner of Dana Industries. Frank, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you.
And so why don't you tell everyone what Dana Industries is?
Thank you. Dana Industries is a leader in in-store signage. Our success is and continues to be innovative and first to market. We are trusted by the world's largest retailer for all their shelf signage. Everything is done in-house. We're glad to be here because we know the challenges that all retailers have, grocery stores, and we have all the solutions for all their in-store signage. Our innovation is pre-printed sign holders, data strips, shelf talkers, clipless blades, again, all done in-house, one-stop shop.
You mentioned challenges that retailers face. What are the most common challenges that they're coming to you with that you guys are trying to solve?
Great question. A lot of retailers are still using labels. They curl up, they fall down. The shelf signage that they have on their stores fall off the shelves, they're on the floor. Some companies, some retailers do not have what we call rails or data strips. Those really snap into their C channels, and our shelf signage locks into their C channels, reduces labor, increases their sales, because statistically, anything that sticks out and captures the customer's attention is all about a minimum of 5% increase in sales.
Wow. That's amazing that just that amount of real estate is going to increase sales that much.
Yes. We also have done many interviews with clients in stores. They tell us conversations that they don't tell the retailer. At the end of the day, it all comes down to one thing. They want the retailer to invest. They want the grocery store to invest in them as a customer. Give them the best in-store experience. Tell them that this is new, that this is organic. Everything is tight today. Money is tight. Prices are up. Interest rates, gas, everything. So in other words, give me the best value for my dollar while I'm in your store. I appreciate the fact that you invest in your products, but I'd like to think that I'm more important than your products. So again, invest in us. Give us the best in-store experience.
And you mentioned that you do everything in-house. Imagine that means that you're able to provide the retailer the most value for their money as well.
Absolutely. Everything is done in-house. All the print, die cutting, heat bending, kitting, packing, shipping out the door. We are actually in Toronto, Canada. You certainly get the advantage of the dollar. 90% of our business is in the U.S., and again, the reason I'm here is because I am very thrilled and excited to know that we have a lot of value to add to the AWG customers.
What's a type of shelf sign that you would recommend retailers have that many aren't utilizing?
Well, first of all, I think they should, it's not the signage that I'm going to talk about right now. They should put data strips in there. But if they don't have data strips, we have the solution for the signage. But to answer your question, the signage that we believe should be a shelf talker that sticks out to capture the customer's attention. Pre-printed sign holders. Customers, they laminate something once. They throw it out. It can't be recycled. Pre-printed sign holders can last for many years. We also don't believe in clips. Clips fail. Clips add labor, and we have the solutions for what we call clipless blades, which means that you don't use any clips. It's hard to imagine how do you put a product on a shelf without any hardware. We have the solutions for all that. So again, challenge us, we have the solutions.
That's great. I envision that a lot of retailers are hesitant to do a lot of signage because you did mention the labor and, just how much time it takes to set up and change and all of that. How is your solutions cutting down on the labor?
Great. First of all, one of the things that employees hate the most is changing out pricing all the time. And labels, they have to change them out, they throw them in the garbage. A pre-printed sign holder or a shelf talker that is printed on there with sale or new or what have you, all you're doing is using a very inexpensive white paper, just print black, you don't have to use color. So that reduces labor, that increases your sales. We also are at that stage, obviously, where stores are going with electronic price tags. Technology is here today. We have the solutions as well for the electronic price tags, being the flags. Now, some customers might say, well, wait a minute, why are we adding flags? Isn't the whole idea electronic price tags to reduce labor and not add any more? Yes, electronic price tags are great, but they do not capture the customer's attention. This is why we have our own proprietary different materials that we put on the electronic price tag to capture the customer's attention. Down the aisle, it might say new, clearance, what have you, but it does work very well.
No, that makes a lot of sense to me because when I've been in stores that have, 100% electronic shelf labels, it does all look the same. Like that's the whole point of it, that the box that it all looks the same. The typeface looks the same. And if you add a little flag next to it, then now I'm going to look at that one versus the other one. So that makes perfect sense to me. If anyone's interested in getting in touch with Dana Industries, what do they need to do?
Well, they can contact us directly. We can work out, and one of the things that we pride ourselves on is we make samples at no cost. So if they would like, if they say, okay, I'd like our pre-printed sign holders or our shelf talkers, send us some artwork. We'll make you 5, 10, 20 samples. The reason we do that at no cost is we want to make sure that it's executed at store. We can come up with the best ideas, but if employees don't execute it at store, it doesn't mean anything. So we are willing to invest, and we know that works perfectly at stores.
Perfect. Frank, thank you for stopping by. I'll definitely have a link to your company's website in the show notes.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Next up, I'm joined by Brittany Benton, Managing Director of Marketing at ECRS. Thanks for joining me today, Brittany.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
So tell me, what is ECRS?
Yeah, so ECRS, it's kind of hard to find, but actually it stands for Electronic Cash Register Software. We started in 1989 by our founder and CEO, Pete Cato. Really had a passion for helping independent retailers being able to compete against really large retailers out there. He definitely values having smaller independent retailers. So out of that was born this brilliant idea to make their lives as easy as possible with really great software. So he started up Catapult. So Catapult Retail POS is the name of our software.
Okay.
And basically, it encompasses any type of solution from the front end to the back office, and any kind of other extra things. So like the loyalty program, e-commerce, being able to communicate with EDI adapters. It's all native to the software. It's we don't do it through a bunch of integrations. So yeah, that's how Catapult was born.
And so what are some common problems that retailers are coming to you with that you guys are trying to solve for?
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to challenges from our retailers, some of the things that we'll hear is that it's hard to stay ahead. There's lots of options out there, great options. But a really big challenge is definitely making sure that they're having the correct solution for whatever problem that they're trying to solve. So for example, with loyalty, they might decide that they want to partner with a third-party vendor. But occasionally with integrations like that, sometimes there could be issues with that data flow exchange with that API. So retailers that come to us that really understand the true essence of Catapult are really looking to just eliminate that friction point and being able to use a program that's native to the software. Of course, we do APIs. Certainly people can choose to do that, but it's eliminating having to use several vendors and just using one.
Yeah, it seems like whoever I talk to, it doesn't really matter what the solution that they're offering is. It really just comes down to saving retailers time.
Yes.
And I imagine a good POS system does that in any number of ways. And so how are you guys saving retailers time?
Yeah, absolutely. So you definitely hit the nail on the head, especially nowadays when it comes to just labor issues in general. So with our solution, what retailers are really looking to do is eliminate a lot of manual processes. They're really looking to automate a lot of those processes. So with Catapult, we try to make it as easy as possible for them. So if they go ahead and set up their parameters in advance about, how many ketchups that they want to have left on the shelf and making sure they don't have over a set number. Go ahead and setting that all up on the forefront so that with the system, it can actually just make sound recommendations of what they should be ordering. Even taking advantage of things like AI-driven analytics to be able to predict what their next purchase order should entail. So we really try to automate as much as possible to really eliminate those manual processes.
And I don't know why I never thought of it. Maybe that's why I just run a podcast and not a grocery store. But the idea that your POS system is also integrated into your ordering process makes so much sense to me. And I never really considered that before. And I hope that retailers are really taking advantage of that part.
Yeah, absolutely. So for the ones who aren't, we let them know that there's definitely other ways to do it as easily as they can with their current setup. But really, whenever they incorporate something like that with the EDI adapters and being able to place their order through something, our solution is called Gateway. It just gives you that direct connection to that supplier, that wholesaler, so that there's no emailing back and forth. You just do it right in your system and submit that purchase order through Catapult. So it makes it really easy, and the receiving process is super streamlined too. So it's nice.
It seems like POS systems is the kind of thing that a retailer will buy and install and then kind of forget about for a while. How often do you recommend, retailers really sit down and analyze and think about, like, oh, do I need to change? Do I need to upgrade? What changes do I need to make to my POS system?
So that's a twofold question. Definitely when it comes to hardware, I know everyone wants that thing to live for years and years on end, but our recommendation is that you switch that out every 5 years. So that's the hardware piece of it. It's got to be able to keep up with all of the new operating systems. But in terms of software, I mean, it's got to be an ongoing thing. It's got to be just part of your daily routine, seeing what's out there, what other retailers are doing. That's the only way that you can stay ahead and to also be inspired by the retailer community, relying on each other to spark new ideas. So to me, that's just an ongoing thing that you really need to take a look at often if you really want to actually stay ahead, because especially as independent retailers, they have that advantage of being nimble and agile, more so than these huge giants where it takes a long time to be able to implement something new. They just have that advantage of being able to just do things really quickly. So, I think it needs to be an ongoing thing, honestly.
When you're talking to retailers, how do you balance that, ability to be agile with also, a cautiousness that they all inherently have, because they're not this big giant. They know that, like, we may only have one store. So yeah, we can move quickly, but a lot of them are also very cautious because they only have the one.
Yeah.
And so how do you balance? How do you suggest that they balance those two things?
Yeah, it always comes down to, like, I know we could, but should we? So really, what we encourage with our retailers is, again, making sure that they're really close with other retailers within the community. We put on an annual conference, for example, every year so that all of our retailers can get together and talk through it. And just having honest conversations, because sometimes people like self-checkouts. There are still some folks who don't feel like they need to implement a self-checkout, and they have really good reasons for that. And if they feel like that's not going to serve their community for the better, then by all means don't do that. So the balance is really just talking them through it, kind of consulting with them, asking them about what their shopper habits look like, where they're located. Typically, if they're going to be in a city and it's a fast-paced environment, that's whenever we know that, hey, you probably want to implement a lot of self-service options. You want to make sure that they can order their sandwich to go online, so that they can quickly pick it up. So, it's really just a good conversation with the retailer and then connecting them with other like-minded retailers to get some good advice so that they can make the best judgment call.
Well, Brittany, if any retailers out there are interested in ECRS, what do they need to do?
Yeah, the best thing to do is to go to ecrs.com. There's a form on there that says request more information, and that'll get you directly to me, actually, in our sales team. So we'll get you connected with someone who can have an in-depth conversation about that.
Perfect. And I'll have a link to your site in the show notes.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And we're going to leave it there. Thank you to everyone I talked to at Innovation Showcase, and thank you all for listening. Please remember to like and subscribe to Grocer Pod. That way you can stay up to date on all the latest things going on around AWG. And until next week, this has been Sean Kasednar for Grocer Pod.